Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Solving the Mystery of the Credit Reports. We'll give everyone another minute or two before we get started. But I'm very excited to share with you. We still have a few people joining. I hope everyone's day has been going well so far. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, my name is Tiffany John. I'm Interim Chief Lending Officer at University Credit Union. And we share a passion for helping our university community by giving them a financial advantage. And one of the ways we do that is educating our members on how to maintain and improve their credit scores. So today we're going to talk about those mysteries of the credit report. I'm going to excuse myself from the camera so that you can see the PowerPoint presentation. So who is University Credit Union? So UCU was founded in 1951 on the campus of UCLA by the UCLA employees. It was created by the university community for the university community. And some of the services that we offer is no conflicts of interest. We have no individual incentives. So we are able to give an unbiased consultative approach that has our members' best interests in mind. And we serve our students, employees, retirees, faculty, alumni, and our members' families. We have partnership benefits. We have full service financial institution. We have the highest yielding checking account in the nation, which I think is just fantastic. And we have powerful financial wellness resources as well. So let's dive in. What is a credit report? Credit report's an overview of your lending history to the present date. It's who you pay, how you pay, and how much credit you use. This is one report you want to make sure you have a good grade on. And just when you thought you might be done with school, here's another report, but we're going to help you give you the answers today. So where do credit reports come from? There are three major credit reporting agencies, and they are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Now, keep in mind, not all creditors or financial institutions report to all three bureaus. Your data might be on one, but not all three. And your credit score is generated by FICO, and that stands for Fair Isaacs Corporation, and they're a separate entity outside of the credit bureaus. FICO was developed to measure risk back in 1956, but it wasn't until 1989 when FICO became a standard score model and used more in lending. Also, the three agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, they got together and developed another score model called Vantage, which is used by most credit monitoring services like Credit Karma. But today we're going to keep our focus on the FICO score. So what's on my credit report? What we'll see on your credit report is your social security number, your name, date of birth, address. We might see your employer. We'll see your credit score, any inquiries that you've had for credit. We'll see auto loans, personal loans, your student loans, credit cards, and it also includes the opening date, the loan amount, the balance, and payment, along with the terms of the loan. We see your payment history. Some other items that would appear on your credit report might be a bankruptcy, collections, and your late payment history. Some of the things that are not on your credit report would be your checking and savings account information. The items that you purchase by credit, we won't see. And after some time, after about 10 years, those bankruptcies will fall off along with those charge-offs or collections that are over 7 years old. We do not see your gender, religion, or political affiliation either. We won't see Your motor vehicle records, we'll know that you have an auto loan, but we won't know what kind of auto. So who looks at my credit score? It's interesting that not only do lenders look at your credit report, but also insurance companies, rental management companies, employers, and utility companies. So who knows their credit score? And if you don't, that's okay too. But to establish a credit score, you need to have at least one trade line open for a 6-month period, and that'll generate a credit score. That could be an auto loan, a credit card, or even a student loan. And collections count here too. Credit scores range from 300 up to 850, and 850 would be the most excellent score, like having an A plus. It's important to have a good credit score, and we are here to help you with that. One of my favorite tools on our online banking is called Credit Journey. And what Credit Journey does is it helps monitor your score and your credit activity. It's also a great resource providing tips on how to improve your score. And keep in mind, I mentioned Vantage earlier. Various credit monitoring services use different types of score models, so there might be some variance in your score when applying for a loan or comparing with another credit monitoring provider. And here's a quick shot of what you'll see under Credit Journey. And I love this tool because it helps me know exactly what's on my credit report, what my score is, and how I can improve my score. And I love the history as well because we can see that credit score keep going up. So who likes to save money? Do you know anyone who doesn't like to save money? I know I do. So let's look at the benefits of having a good credit score. So this is an example on a $25,000 auto loan for a 60-month term. If I have a credit score of 800, my interest rate could be as low as 5.24 with a payment of $478. The total interest that I would pay on that loan is $3,716. However, if my credit score is 650, my interest rate would be 11.49 with a payment of $559, and the total interest is $8,596. So after 25 years in lending, one of my favorite things to do is to show members how to save more of their hard-earned money. And the best way to do that is to have a great credit score. So we're going to talk about the components of your FICO score. So there's 5 components to your score. The first component that weighs the most is your payment history. Payment history is definitely key. So making those payments on time is essential. 30% of your score is made up of the amount that you owe. And this is on all of your loans, but it's most important on your revolving debts. When you're maxing out your credit cards, it decreases your available capacity, which can have an impact to your score. 15% of your credit score is based on length of credit, which is the average age of your open trade lines. 10% of your score is based on new credit. That also includes the types of new credit and inquiries as well. And 10% is types of credit. So that's having a mix of credit. So it's having an auto loan, it could be a mortgage, student loans. And when you can understand these components, it helps you build a solid credit score. Some actions that might hurt your credit score, and as we just saw, a poor credit score can lead to higher interest rates and higher payments. But one of the number one factors would be your late payments, collections, and bankruptcies. And it's really easy to take a score from 735 down to 535 if you were to file bankruptcy. And let's hope that doesn't happen, but it can impact your score by over 200 points. When your credit cards are maxed out, it can decrease your score as well. If you were to have one credit card with the limit of $10,000 and that credit card gets maxed out, it could cost you almost 100 points on your credit score. However, when you pay that down by $5,000 and you have 50% available to you, it can increase your credit score by about 50 points. When you're opening up too many accounts in a short period of time, this can have a big impact on your score too, having too many inquiries. We like to typically see about 2 to 3 inquiries per year on your credit report. And it's okay if you have more, because we understand that you might be shopping for an auto loan, might be shopping for a mortgage, and we will see those inquiries. Using finance companies, because they're not considered a credit union or a bank, they can pull your score down a little bit. And as I mentioned before, too many inquiries can have a negative impact as well. So how long do trade lines remain on my credit report? Payment history remains indefinitely until the account is removed. A Chapter 7 can stay on your credit report for 7 to 10 years. Collection accounts can stay on your credit report for 7 years from the date of last activity. But the older the trade line becomes, the less weight it has on your credit score. FICO looks at the last 2 years more so than what happens 36 to 48 months ago. And if you notice an incorrect late payment, you can dispute it with the creditor. When it comes to collections and moves, a collection account can move to a charge-off. There might be another trade line added to your credit report, or when the debt is sold to another collection agency, it could cause another negative trade line. And many financial institutions will move an account from a collection to a charge-off status at about that 6-month period. And while it can feel awful falling onto hard times, many times when you call to ask for help, arrangements can be made. And at UCU, we understand that our members face financial challenges from time to time, and we love working with our members through those hardships and finding solutions for them. So ways to improve your credit score. If you're just establishing or you're trying to recover from some late payments, just be patient because your score will go up. Time takes time, right? So having on-time payments, and as I mentioned, the last 24 months are key. Keeping your balance lower than limits on revolving accounts, using no more than 30% of your limits is a great piece of advice to keep that score in good standing. Keep older accounts open because remember, we look at the average length of credit. However, having too many cards can impact your credit score too. FICO says the magic number of credit cards is 3 to maximize your points. Having more than 3 credit cards can reduce your score a little bit as well. Limit the number of credit inquiries, having 2 to 3 per year. And you can increase your credit score by having no inquiries for a 6 to 8 month period. You'll see a boost in your score. And then acquire experience, but don't be in a hurry to have it all now. Because again, it takes time to really build and establish a good credit score. And UCU, we have a great resource where you can make an appointment with the certified credit union financial counselor or a credit report expert. And you can click here and you can set an appointment. You can come in person or we can do it through Teams. We can do a credit review, a financial review. We can talk about consolidation options, how to improve your score, and look for opportunities to help you save money on your loans. We can also talk about how to establish credit. So have you ever requested a free copy of your credit report? You can do so at annualcreditreport.com. And I really do recommend obtaining a copy of your credit report at least once a year. So the Fair Credit Reporting Act promotes accurate and fair information of the data on your credit report. So if you're concerned that you might have negative items on your credit report, these things can be fixed. However, you want to make sure that you're going through reputable companies that'll help you because we do We all make mistakes from time to time, so if you find yourself struggling out how to fix your credit, just be aware of those credit repair companies. An easy fix is not always the right solution. And as a lender, we've seen these consumer statements and have found them helpful to understand the situation. So credit report companies can charge fees to do things that you can do for yourself at no cost. Take steps to dispute incorrect or outdated information. You can go online to TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian and file a dispute online. You can also obtain their address and write directly to them to dispute anything. And you can also contact those creditors and file a dispute as well. And if you went through a challenging life event, you can add a consumer statement of up to 100 words to explain what happened. It might be that you had identity theft and there's certain trade lines that were affected, because we do pay attention to those. Another service we provide is we have partnered with GreenPath, and GreenPath provides credit counseling and personalized advice. And they're a trusted partner that's helped many of our members pay off large amounts of credit card debt through their debt management program. Because not all consumer credit counseling is the same. And GreenPath is one of our trusted partners. So identity theft. Another good reason to check your credit report annually is because of identity theft. And it's unfortunate we live in a society today where we really must watch for identity theft. It's no longer a matter of if it's going to happen, but when. There's also insurance that you can obtain. Homeowners insurance or renters insurance are adding features to protect you from identity theft where they'll help you make those corrections. We recommend getting your e-statements and setting up alerts through online banking to monitor your account activity. It was interesting. I learned 71% of victims that do monitor regularly can usually catch any identity theft within 2 weeks. And there are over 6 million cases of identity reported annually. And identity theft is not a joke. $56 billion is the amount of financial losses due to fraud. And 8.8 billion was due to fraud online. It can cost you over 300 hours to repair your credit and your identity after this damage. 50% of victims have a challenging time getting a loan because of identity theft or not knowing how to correct it. One of the things I've done to protect my identity is I've placed a freeze on my credit report. And how that works is I contacted the bureaus. I went online and I asked to have my credit frozen, and you can register online. But when I do apply for a loan, I have a PIN number so that I can unlock my credit report to allow a lender to run it. And for me, this is just extra insurance, so nobody can run my credit without my permission. So some ways of preventing fraud is to protect your information. Limit who and where you share your information. Shred anything with your account number on it, and monitor your statements carefully. I know we often get our bank and credit card statements online, but it's important that we go through it just to pay attention and make sure that the charges are accurate. We have found that some fraudsters that might have your identity or are using a credit card without your permission will try and charge smaller amounts before they go after the larger ones. So damage control, what can we do if we feel that our identity has been compromised? We can file a police report. We want to contact the credit bureaus, the reporting agencies to place a freeze if we haven't already done so. Change your passwords. It's so important to change your passwords. I like to change mine every couple of months. Contact creditors to ask about recent activity if you have any concerns. You'd cancel your credit cards, new ones can be issued to you. Monitor your checking and savings accounts. Review your credit report quarterly for suspicious activity. And you can contact other organizations like DMV, Social Security, and your financial institutions that you bank with if your identity has been compromised. So with a little awareness and effort, you can have and keep an excellent credit history that'll open up lots of opportunities in your financial life. Now, I know I went through that pretty quickly. We are open to take any questions that you might have.
Hi, Tiffany. We do have one question in the Q&As, and that is, how do student loans impact your credit?
That is a great question. So student loans, it is a trade line on your credit report. So it is considered when FICO calculates their score. So having your payments on time is important. Making sure that the student loans are reporting accurately if they're in deferment as well would be a positive, but they do count in your credit score. That's a great question. I see a hand up. Any other questions?
We do have the Q&A chat on the top of your browser where you can ask your question. I see some questions coming in. We have one that says, are we able to get a check? I'm sorry, are we able to get a copy of your deck? I want to share with kids.
Oh, you can definitely get a copy of this deck. I think it's great that you want to pass this information along to your kids. I think it's so important that we educate our children, especially in this time of everything is online and credit. They don't always see money, right? They don't see that cash. And one
The
of the
next
other benefits of banking with UCU is we do offer unsolicited our unbiased information and helping you with budgets along with the credit repair. So I see a question, closing credit cards, does it affect your credit report? So it can, and without seeing your credit report, if it's just one credit card, and that's the only card that you have on your credit report and you're closing that, it might impact the average length of credit that you have. It would also decrease the available capacity that you have. So it can have some impact. If you have concerns about closing your credit cards, you can always talk to one of our credit report experts. See another question, how does debt consolidation affect credit? Well, that's a great question. So when we move revolving debt into installment debt and we're paying off our credit cards, it frees up our capacity on our credit card so we can see a boost in the credit score. However, if you close some of those credit cards and if you're going to have a debt consolidation loan, I would advise closing your credit cards so that that loan's successful and you're not obtaining more debt. But it will boost when you pay off your revolving debt. It might pull your score down a little bit with the new loan, but as you pay that down, your score will boost back up. So I have a question. Do we have to double check if the student loan I took out will report it once it gets paid off? I ask because currently I don't see it on my credit report. So it might depend on who your student loan was opened with. As I mentioned earlier, not all financial institutions or lenders do report to all three bureaus. It might be on one, or it might not be on any. I would contact them to see if they do report to the bureaus. And I usually see that once you have graduated and your student loans become due, those loans do start reporting. How long does it take to reestablish credit? I have no debt, therefore no credit after paying everything off. So if you did pay off credit, loans, credit cards in the past, those trade lines still might be reporting to your credit report depending on how old those are, but you can reestablish credit. I love promoting UCU because we have great rates on our credit cards and our other loan products. And that's a great way to start reestablishing your credit. Now, I've seen some people go and just open up several credit cards all at once, thinking that's the best way to establish credit, and they're maxing those cards out. That is not advisable. We want to establish credit slowly. Open up one credit card, maybe two. Like I said before, three credit cards is that magic number that FICO likes to see, and then avoid maxing that out. And that's a great way to start reestablishing credit.
Tiffany, there's another question here about paying off credit cards and not closing them. How will that affect their score?
So when you pay off your credit cards, it frees up the capacity so you can boost your credit score. And when you don't close them, it keeps your average length of credit open. But again, without seeing your full credit report, to really give you the best feedback on that question, that's what I can share for now.
And somebody has asked as well, if Equifax has their name wrong, but is asking for a documentation to correct it, what would be the need for them to go through that effort to correct it? Does it have any effect on future lending?
Well, that is something that we look at, because with identity theft, we want to make sure you are who you are, right? So if your name is not correct on the credit report, that could raise some suspicion. If it's just a misspelling in your name, you can provide your driver's license to show that proof, but we do like to make sure that that data is accurate. I hope that answers your question.
We have another question. If you have a credit card that you haven't used in some time, should they start using it?
Not unless you absolutely have to. That credit line will remain on your credit report. I would recommend, if you do want to use it, if that's the only credit card that you have, you can use it and pay it off just to keep it active. There are some financial institutions that will close credit cards if they haven't been used for a certain period of time. But those are usually policies that each financial institution will set for themselves. Great questions.
It looks like somebody has recently booked an appointment but wasn't able to request you specifically, Tiffany. Is that okay?
Sure, it is okay. I would love to meet with you and go over your credit report if you like. I believe when you're booking an appointment, you can make some notes on there.
That's correct. It looks like we are slowing down on questions. If there are any questions there that we did not, that we may have missed, we will go through it again, ensure that the questions are answered, and send that out to all participants along with a copy of this PowerPoint deck, a link to our YouTube channel, and also some additional handout just summarizing some best practices when it comes to credit reports.
Well, thank you all for joining today. Everyone has a great rest of their day.
Thank you, Tiffany.